¿no? Arriba. Bueno.
Good morning to you all. Thank you for being here. My name is Santiago Sánchez Beitia. I am the chair of this school and director of the joint master's course. I'd like to first of all thank you all for being here, especially our students. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear translation all right? Is it working? Is everything okay? Can you confirm that you can listen to translation? I think it's channel 1. Is it okay? Is it working? Yeah? Thumbs up? Down? Up? Okay. Okay. Thumbs up. Good. Okay, testing. This is a sound test. I don't know who's the person responsible for checking this, but let's have a quick check, okay? I think it's channel number 1, where you can hear translation. Let's give us a few seconds to solve this. Okay. It is essential that all students can hear to translation. All of you who need it, of course. Okay. You can move if translation's not working in the seat you're in. Right? I'll keep talking just to check that you've got translation and that you can hear everything okay. Checking, testing. This is a sound test. This is translation service. Maybe you can change places with someone. Maybe you can go somewhere else. Is it okay? I keep talking and talking. Okay. Can you hear? All right? Yes. Okay. So are we ready? Can everybody follow the translation? Yeah. I think there's one person who is having issues. So let's see if she can hear us all right. Can you hear me? This is a test. This is a sound test. Have you changed headphones? Or are you using the same headphones? Maybe you can change them. Edurne? Yeah. This talk is mainly aimed at you. It's for you, students of ARURCOHE. So it is essential that you can all follow what's been said, and therefore translation is essential for this talk. Okay, let's see. We've been testing everything, you know, but well, we're here live, so sometimes things don't seem to work. We haven't tested all seats, but we've been testing translation anyway. Well, I keep talking and talking. Is that all right? Could it be the headphones? Okay, again, this is a sound test. I hope you can hear all right. Can you hear me okay? Well, let's see. Testing. Yes, this is a sound test. I hope you can hear me all right. Yes? Fine. So, if you can all hear me, then we're ready. Can I have your thumbs up, please, again? Or everybody, thumbs up, yeah? Okay, we can go. Thank you very much. So sorry about that. You've all got translation. Fine. So, let's get started, officially, right? We are here to talk about ARURCOHE. My name is Santiago, I'm the chair at this school. I'm the person responsible for ARURCOHE, that is an Erasmus Mundus joint master. We're here to talk about this joint master. I would like to thank you all for being here, especially the students that have enrolled in the joint master. And I would like to thank people that are following this talk over the streaming. I know there are quite a few people there online. Good morning to you all. It's been hard for me to give a title to this event because it's not an opening session for anything. It's not a typical classical thing or event. This is like the first class in the master's course. Well, of course, out of respect for students coming from abroad, I need to say a few things concerning the master's, about its origin, mainly. So half of my presentation, the first half of my presentation, will give you some ideas, general ideas about the joint master's course, and then later on we will talk about the architecture of the 20th century. Maybe some professors at this school who are experts in the field, probably when I leave this room, will follow me and tell me that I've missed some things, but well, never mind. This is the poster of the joint master, ARURCOHE. It's on the website. I need to say that today, tomorrow, we'll be updating the website. Although not many things will change. You've got plenty of information available there about the content of ARURCOHE. You're here in an Erasmus Mundus joint master, ARURCOHE, architectural and urban contemporary heritage. As I said, and I want to insist on this, it is a joint master of the Erasmus Mundus action. And I will now tell you briefly some thing about the Erasmus Mundus action. It has an official code, and this is an action, masters that's foreseen for 5 editions for a 5-year period. Here you have the logos of the participants of the master's course. As you can see here, we have 3 different academic blocks by 3 European universities and 3 European cities that are involved in the master. The European universities are the University of the Basque Country, where we are now, the School of Architecture, then the Torino Polytechnic School in Italy, and the Kaunas University of Technology in Lithuania. We also have therefore 3 campuses in 3 European cities, in San Sebastian, first of all, where we are now, then Torino, northern Italy, and thirdly, Kaunas, which is located in the center of Lithuania. My presentation will be available on the website, so you will be able to access it. Here I've included the main information sources concerning the program. You don't need to take notes on this because, as I said, all the links will be available for you. And here I will go for a more institutional part of my presentation. here at the School of Architecture and outside in the street, while we're with our friends, people ask, what is Erasmus Mundus? What is it all about? So here, first of all, I would like to make some acknowledgements. First of all, well, we tend to say that the European Union is a single country made up by 27 member states. And we work as one in this case, right? I would like to say that the European Commission includes the ministries in Europe. We have a common agricultural program, an industrial program, a number of different programs there developed by the European Commission, and one of them is the Erasmus Plus program. This is the star of this movie, right? And it includes 20 to 30 different elements. One of them is what we call the Erasmus Mundus Action. It is part of the Erasmus Mundus program. And this is one of the sub-programs that are available and that are funded in order to develop joint masters like the one we're talking about. This sub-program is coordinated and directed by the EACEA, which is the acronym of the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. So we report institutionally directly to the EACEA. The Erasmus Mundus program would be the intermediary, the interface, right? We are the intermediaries between you and the EU, and therefore we manage and coordinate everything in coordination with the EACEA. And of course, they on the one hand demand things from us because they provide us with funding, and on the other hand, they give us that funding, right? It is a give and take relationship we have with the EACEA. We get their support, because all the documents that are generated, all the papers that we create are overseen by the EACEA, and sometimes they tell us that we need to abide by some additional regulations we didn't know about, etc. In this context, I need to confess that there were many things I didn't know about. So this is why I'm telling you about all of this. We need to disseminate this information about what the European Commission is, because they're really funding our programs, and I think we need to keep that, have that very clearly in our minds. The Erasmus Plus program is probably one of the main programs in Europe. I think the website gets the most hits all over Europe. There are so many people looking at the website, millions of people, not just in Europe but all over the world. This is, as I said, the star program of the EU, of the European Commission particularly. Very quickly, I will say that the Erasmus Mundus program doesn't just fund this type of joint masters. There are a number of other activities on top of this program, because it focuses on education, training, youth and sport in Europe. It also focuses on social inclusion, green and digital transitions, and it also promotes young people's participation in the democratic life. It also supports activities concerning social rights, sports, generally speaking. You can look at all this information on the website. You've got a link here up on the screen where you can go to get all this information. So we've got the European Commission, then the Erasmus Mundus program, and within the Erasmus Mundus we have a number of different actions that you see here that include, of course, joint masters. So I just wanted to tell you this to give you a little bit of context. More acknowledgements, of course, to the partners of the ARURCOHE joint master. We at the Architecture School, we are the coordinators of the program. We also have the participation of the Department of Architecture of the Polytechnic School in Torino, and then the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture at Kaunas, Lithuania. We together have developed a program, a joint program, that makes up this Easmus Mundus joint master. So my acknowledgement to them. This is the result of 2 years' work, joint work, and over this time we've had input from many people, from many different institutions, including the Torino Polytechnic School and the Kaunas University of Technology. As you may know, due to the conversations you've had with the ARURCOHE Secretariat, we have developed 3 different blocks. The first one starts here. We are the coordinators of block number 1, and then for block number 2 and 3 you have to go to Torino. These 2 blocks are globally coordinated by the Torino Polytechnic School. And we also have the participation of the Kaunas University of Technology. And then when block 3 comes, where you have to develop your master dissertation, well, this will be coordinated by these 2 universities in Torino and Kaunas. I would like to thank the School of Architecture in San Sebastian for their support. You're going to have a room just for you. And I would also like to thank the Master's Secretariat. You have been in touch with them, and you've been in touch with Edurne specifically. So I would like to thank her and the whole of the Secretariat for their work and their kindness. Is everything okay with translation? Are you following all right? Yes? Fine. Let's move on then. Then, if you go to the website, you will find information about the associated partners. These are partners that somehow contribute to the joint master. They participate at a number of different levels, academic and beyond, of course. We have the Docomomo, the Le Corbusier Foundation, Tecnalia, and a number of different associated partners. We have professional associations, international agencies that are broadly known, and we also have, of course, research centers like Tecnalia, for instance. So they've all given us their input. And thanks to that input, they've been complementary to the tasks we've carried out at the university. Because sometimes we tend to be quite rigid at the university, but our partners are not part of the university, and most of us contribute with their experience, like national agencies that support with a number of different guidelines. They contribute with heritage catalogues, and then we have a number of different companies, because many of you in your professional life have your private architecture studios, and you probably work with some of these companies or national or international agencies. So they are the ones that are giving us their input that go beyond the university. Special mention to the Paris consultancy that supported us with our application to the European Union, which was quite hard. What are the milestones? Well, we've been working for 2 years. I will go back to the first one, to the first year, a number of times during my presentation. And then, you know, I would like to mention that we had to prepare the contents and the needs, and then look at the architects in Europe. This took like 2 years. Then we had the competitive EU core. where an application was submitted to get funding. Then that was February 2022. A report about the previous 2 years was submitted as well at that time. We felt quite nervous at the time and had to wait for the resolution that came in July 2022, 5 to 6 months after the call. The 5 editions of ARURCOHE were approved then. Then we signed an agreement with the European Union that happened in August 2022, and we jumped and plunged into the creation of the website in January 2023. Well, this was a process that started in late 2022, really. Then we signed a consortium agreement. All 3 universities have to sign that, and that's where the ARURCOHE consortium was created. So on the one hand, in August 2022, the master was created, and then the consortium was created in April 2023. And these, well, there were in between, there were some negotiations going on. You need to be fully aware of the fact that each university represents a country, and therefore the legislation is completely different, and therefore we need to make things fit together in terms of regulation, and it's quite hard. It takes time. Then, well, we started the selection process, candidate selection process. This is where you come in. That was in April 2023. We got like 500 or 600 applications. Some of them, of course, didn't comply with the necessary requirements to participate in ARURCOHE. There were like 300 applications that complied with all the requirements. In the meantime, the academic planning was defined and established, and that was in July 2023. And then came the final selection of candidates. That's you. We had to make some final adjustments due to visas, etc. In fact, I think there are 2.
Una persona de Etiopía y una persona de China, pero que bueno, los esperamos aquí o esta semana o la que viene. Es decir, que no estáis todos todavía, pero bueno, o sea, en fin. Sois 27 estudiantes de 15.
You are 26, 27 students from 15 different countries. We feel really honored to have you. I hope you feel happy too. Why am I saying this? Well, we've spent years analyzing all of these, working on the master's course, and it is also really interesting to have people from different countries come here and talk about architecture, because we're going to be learning from you as well. That's what we hope anyway. And this is how we get to October 2023. This is what has been going on over the past 2 years. What are the management tools of ARURCOHE? Well, we have a general academic committee made up by representatives from each of the 3 universities that participate in the program. I am the director myself. Then we have Izaskun Olaza from the University of Basque Country, Paolo Melano representing Polito, the Torino Polytechnic School, and Horate Kamikaitite, who is the person representing the KTU, that is the Kaunas University of Technology in Lithuania. Then we have a mobility committee. I think you know Anna Afpiri. I think all of you already know Anna. You've met her. She's the person responsible for mobility. And then we internally have an internal mobility committee. Izaskun is part of it. She's here in the room. You, on a daily basis, in Block 1, will be in touch with Anna Afpiri, whom you've met because she's responsible for the Global Mobility Committee, and Laura Nechepare, who is here, who is a member of the internal committee. And Daniel Luengas, where are you, Daniel? I can't see you. Well, he must be somewhere here. We also have a quality commission made up by the previous 3 committees. And then we've got some internal offices of each university focusing on the quality management. Because at the end of the day, the idea is that what you students get and how you get it, and everything that is affected or that affects you, we need to guarantee that it's high quality and complies by the law and established regulations. And then I would like to talk about the Students' Committee, because you need to, maybe not this week, maybe sometime when you later, when you get to know each other, you need to vote for 2 representatives of your group, of the students' group. And this will be the Students' Committee. You need to choose, therefore, 2 members, 2 students to represent you. And then the last tool I would like to mention would be the ARURCOHE Secretariat, where Edurne works. The Torino Polytechnic School has their own committee, and the same thing goes for Kaunas University, of course. And here, talking about our secretariat, because each university has different internal committees and different organizations. So there may be different situations in the different universities. And in the Basque Country, the University of the Basque Country, you will have a specific secretariat that will be dealing with everything concerning you and the joint master. And therefore, the person you'll be in touch with will be Edurne, mainly, yeah. Now, let's look at the Easmus Mundus actions. I will give you some features here. About the Easmus Mundus joint master, because they are high-level integrated transnational study programs at master level, and they are always delivered by universities of different countries. A minimum of 3 is required here. They are programs of excellence that contribute to the integration and internationalization of the EU, and they're open for all scientific and academic fields. We don't have any constraints here, any quotas at all. The idea being that these joint masters promote the attractiveness and the excellence of the EU. And the idea is also, of course, to attract talent to Europe. We want to attract talent to the whole of Europe. This is one of the aims of the Easmus Mundus program. There are 2 limitations when it comes to selecting students concerning their origin. There's a balance that should be guaranteed, a geographical balance. You have all this information on the website. You have a link there to this information about quotas, because we don't want to have a situation where we have 25 students from the same country, whichever that country might be. There needs to be, therefore, a geographical balance in order to disseminate this knowledge. Students also need to live in 2 different countries, in 2 different blocks. And of course, these 2 countries should be different from their country of origin. The idea is that students don't stay for the whole of the 18 months period in the same country. The idea is that you move, that you know a number of different countries, and this also fits or is aligned with this idea of internationalization. As I said, of course, the joint masters get funding. On the one hand, for the internal management that is required by the universities, and then there are direct funds for students. There are scholarships for the whole period of the program, and then there are very specific cases for people with disabilities. So the Erasmus program is very broad and is aimed at covering the needs of all students. Currently in Europe we have 193 joint masters ongoing in many different disciplines, fields and universities in Europe. Let's now concentrate on the ARURCOHE program. This is the only Easmus Mundus joint master specifically focused on architecture and the urban environment, and more specifically in the it focuses on the contemporary built heritage. It is a master's with 90 ECTS, you know that already. It breaks down into 3 blocks, 3 different blocks in the Basque Country, in Torino and Lithuania. The Easmus Mundus program in the EU will be funding 5 editions from 2023 to 2028, and we expect to host a maximum of 150 students over 5 years, 90 with full scholarships, 40 with partial scholarships and 20 without scholarship. And for that we must comply with the geographical balance that's stated and established in the Erasmus Plus program guide. 25 professors from the 3 participating universities will participate, and then we'll have 25, 26 guest professors that will be involved. You are 27 or 28 students from 16 countries. I think that we've got a good geographical balance. You have your mobility plan, you know about that, but I would like to summarize it here. This I think you're familiar with, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. In the 3rd block, month number 16, we have foreseen that you come back here for a couple of weeks, and that's really interesting. Why? Well, in our experience, we have concluded that while you're working on your master dissertation, it's very interesting to talk to each other and to see how you are making headway. And then there will be some external stakeholders supporting you. The associated partners will be helping you. And I think that their input will be interesting for you at that point in time. I forgot to say this earlier on. This is the academic planning, and the 3 participating universities have previous experience in this type of program. This is not something coming out of the blue. This School of Architecture has previous experience, and so is the case of the other 2 universities participating in the ARURCOHE program. We've been teaching masters for 14 years, both on architecture, and therefore we have, and also we have been working on refurbishment, so we have an experience. We also have a doctoral program on rehabilitation, and refurbishment. So we have like 15 to 20 years experience here. And here I'm talking about all 3 universities. In your program. So thanks to that experience, we've been able to work on this academic planning. In months 1 to 6, you will be covering all these points you see up on the screen. This is no new, it's not new for you. You've got all this information on the website. And I would like to bring up here the methodology, the teaching methodology that will be followed. On the one hand, we're going to have magister lectures, specific lectures. Block 1 will be here in the Basque Country, but we will get professors from Torino and Kaunas, so you will be getting to know them from the very beginning. And there will be professors from the Basque Country going over there during block 3 and 4. And then we have invited lecturers, guest lecturers from associated partners like Docomomo and Tecnalia. I think you know both partners. Anyway, and on the website you will be able to get additional information about them if you're interested. And then we're going to be listening to practitioners, to professionals, professional architects, like, for instance, the architect of the latest hotel in Donostia, San Sebastian, the group of the actor Robert De Niro. The architect will be Agustin Michelena. This is what I'm talking about. This is the building. I was taking some pictures yesterday. The hotel perfectly fits in ARURCOHE. Right. This is a hotel that's been embedded in this building, a villa from mid-20th century, right? And here we have a 5-star hotel. Guests at the hotel have very nice views, which you see there at the bottom of the screen. So this is one of the things you're going to be looking at. I think you're partly going to live on a bus because you're going to actually visit many places. And I recommend you to use comfortable shoes because you're going to be walking quite a lot. And I think that's good, isn't it? Right? It's fine to be in a room, in a classroom, but it's also interesting to go out there and actually see what's going on. We're also going to carry out practical work. You know, you come from abroad to a new school, to a new country. Most of you have never been here before. And you may wonder, okay, what can I do? What can I look at? What are they going to propose and suggest? Can I do whatever I want? What can I suggest myself? So we have prepared 8 dossiers, 8 files that correspond to 8 different sites in the city, which you can visit. You can go there on foot. And these are not just working proposals. These are elements you can work on. They're not very much described in detail because we want you to describe them. I mean, we're not going to carry out the work you need to carry out, right? We're just suggesting sites that you can concentrate on. And, well, they could be interesting. And it could be a guiding thread for you, right? It can give you many interesting ideas you can talk about with your professors. So you will find here a number of different sites. The files, the dossiers, cover both specialties of the master dissertation, Path 1 and Path 2. So you've got a bit of everything there. For new construction and rehabilitation. And now I'm showing you this, but you've got all of this on the website. I will be giving you the different links to the dossiers, to the files, so that you can access them. I will be doing that today, right? You will find there some images that have copyright, and this is why I haven't given you access to all this material before. And anyway, starting today, you'll be able to download these files. And, well, you will find here some notes asking you to please be careful with the images, right, when sharing, because they could be protected. You can use them for learning purposes, but please don't disseminate these images, right? So I hope you will find these files interesting. As for Block 2, well, here we basically have a project. The main topic here will be 2.5. I will be focusing on cases and cases and more cases, case studies, right? You'll basically be working on your project. You'll be focusing on things like sustainability, how to include that in a project, the different needs, the importance of users, of course, which is something that is really key in Europe, at least. It's very much present in the European legislation. And then, at the end of Block 2, you can already submit or apply for a doctoral thesis, a PhD thesis. The master dissertation could be the starting point of a PhD thesis, right? This is open, it is optional, of course, and you may go for it or not. It's up to you. And then Block 3 would be the master dissertation. It must be co-directed by 2 professors. The topics need to be approved by the academic committee, because there are 2 general objectives of the masters that need to be respected here. There are 2 specialties, new work and rehabilitation. I've added a note at the bottom here, and I want you to take this into consideration, please, because I got some emails from you. And this also goes for the rehabilitation master that we've been teaching here for 14 years. And on day number 1, there are already students that ask questions about their master dissertation, right? Don't be in a hurry, please. Please listen to all your teachers, right? Listen to all the partners, listen to all the stakeholders that come here and talk to you. Listen to the associate partners, guest professors, listen to everybody. And once you've heard from them, then please start thinking about your dissertation, right? Because it often happens that someone comes here with an idea, or a student who wants to work on the architecture of their country, and that's very respectable, of course. I respect that, and that's good, huh? It's fine. But then when they listen to different lectures on different topics, they suddenly realize sometimes, well, quite often, that there are also some different approaches or different interesting topics. So please don't be in a hurry. You have 12 months to choose a topic, and you'll be in 2 different cities. You're going to be hearing from 30 different people. So please take things calmly and quietly. There's absolutely no hurry, right? No rush here. Take your time and think about it, and listen openly. That's my advice anyway. And then we we'll go for the most academic side of the presentation. We're going to the discussion, right? ARURCOHE is a challenge. We need to see it as a challenge. And I'm going to try and dismantle everything you knew about ARURCOHE so far. Well, not everything, but almost. On the title, the term contemporary is used, the term heritage is used, and urban is used, right? These three terms are used. The main objective of the Masters is the one you've got there. It is stated on the first page of arurcohe.com website. You see the objective there, which is to provide high-level qualification to future professionals and researchers focused on the safeguarding, conservation and reuse of the 20th century urban and built heritage. Well, there is a contradiction in terms here. We're talking about contemporary heritage, 20th century. We need to talk about this, right? Of course, we must talk about all of these terms that are used here. And this is very much related to the first milestone I was talking about earlier on, which is the preparation, this preparatory work we carried out over 2 years in 2021 and 2022. Because in our experience at this school, well, we already have a general master's course on rehabilitation. And if you look at young architects coming out from school and working in our environment, find themselves in a context where they work on existing buildings, basically, rehabilitation. Very few that I know have worked at the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. And then probably in the cities we already know, well, there will be new buildings, new projects, like in the old city of San Sebastian or any other cities, right? So we've got these two possibilities, existing buildings or sites and new sites, right? So that generalist view we had on heritage, including churches, shrines, cathedrals, etc., needs to be, that idea needs to be updated. I mean, we need to cover for the needs of new architects currently. And there are a number of different approaches here and different ways of going about it. What I want to say here is that we're going to be talking about architecture. So you see on the right-hand side of the screen, you see two figures. And here we have figures from 1850 to 2023. And here we see the population of some European countries. And you see that over 100 years, the population has increased 2 times, and in some cases 3 times, right? The rural population dropped from 85 to 23%. And 80% of the whole of the area is rural. So we need to look at this in our master's course. We're going to talk about the architecture after the 1900s, and we need to analyze it and see how things have evolved. We see a picture from San Sebastian in 1900s, and then yesterday, you see how the street has changed. So we're going to be talking about the 20th century heritage, about industrialization, new materials, initial capitalism. Industrialization leads the concentration of population in cities. And in the cities we see the establishment of production plants, and capitalism leads to administrative buildings that require or that have new needs and different needs. Then of course we need to take into consideration new materials, mass production, changes in the movement of people. So all of this leads to a new type of construction, a new type of architecture. We need new buildings that were unthinkable before 1900s, but which are here now. Here we have this paper, Inaguración y Desarrollo Urbano, which is, I think, interesting. So from the 1900s, we have a new group of people that live in the cities versus the rural world that is more homogeneous. The population is more homogeneous, but the people living in the cities are more complex, and we see new trends there in the cities. In the 20th century, therefore, we see that there are as many architectures as there are countries. And in the same country, we find different architectures as well, depending on the climate, on the economy of the area, on whether it is an industrial area or not. So this scenario that we find is highly complex, and I'm sure that the architecture in your countries is completely different to the one here. So we're dealing with a high degree of complexity. Yeah, and we can wonder, what is the architecture that we're going to analyze? Are we going to focus on the 20th century heritage or the contemporary heritage, or we're talking about elements that can be considered to be heritage? You know that in many cases international agencies, in order to declare that something is part of a heritage, they require that a number of years have elapsed, like 100, 150 years. So that would stop in 1930 or 40 to consider these elements as heritage. In Spain, we say that we need that 20 years need to have elapsed one human generation to think if something belongs to the heritage or not. Because if we define heritage in a different way, we might miss everything that was built in the 20th century, and we will be missing the whole diversity and complexity of the different countries. And so we would need to rethink the title of this master. So we're going to speak about a concept that would be urban, right? And here, urban planning would be different to seeing what's going on in the neighborhood, right? I like to talk about sites or neighborhoods. I like that concept more than just urban or urban planning. And then we need to wonder, are we going to include here the industrial buildings? Well, we are thinking about Europe here, of course. I don't know about your countries. In some of your countries, things have not been the same, or maybe they happened later in time. So these are questions we need to think about, because they are challenging, right? And the second question we should think about is how we can contribute to the conservation and to the reuse of heritage. So, when we think about the 20th century heritage, well, especially when it comes to looking at translation, we tend to, we think about architecture as well. We need to maybe think about the texts published by the Getty Center, and are we including them in the 20th century or 21st century contemporary architecture? Well, those are things we need to wonder about. So there are some paradigms that are evolving over time. In Europe, we had 2 world wars going on in the past, in the previous century, that really changed the natural flow of things in Europe for a number of different reasons you may think of right now. So we see a number of new paradigms in architecture. Late 19th century, before 1920, when the First World War finished, we had a new paradigm in architecture. Maybe then in the 80s we have a new one too, and in the year 2000 a new paradigm emerged. Well, this will be part of your discussions, and I'm sure that your teachers will be talking about this in detail, right? I'm just introducing the topic, but of course in a very superficial way. I don't have much time to go into detail here. The first paradigm was in Paris, then the second new paradigm after First World War, and the more contemporary one by Alberto Campo Baeza and Shigeru Ban in Tokyo and Madrid. Well, up until 1960, the term heritage was well defined, or we could consider everything that was built before that day to be heritage. But let's think about the catalogues of Docomomo or UNESCO or the Getty Center. They all have their own catalogues. So will a site be considered to be heritage or not? What would be the definition for that? Well, that's something we are going to be talking about. So, and we're not just going to talk about heritage. We will speak about elements that have a heritage value. But what are those values all about? Are they related to the identity of a given region? This building is the Basque Culinary Center in San Sebastian. It was built, you can go there walking, having a walk. It's really close to here. But this, I think, goes beyond all catalogues, all the elements that are considered to be heritage per se. That's something you can think about, food for thought. We're going to talk about this urban concept, but I like to use the terms sites or neighborhoods, as I said earlier on. This is a tennis club that is 500 meters away from here. You look at this, you see some tennis courts, you see some buildings from the 50s and 60s, very respectful, some older ones, early 20th century, and then here we have another more modern construction here. So I think it's more interesting to look at the site or neighborhood. I think that ARURCOHE should focus on that, on sites and neighborhoods. As for industrial architecture, well, it is inherent to modern 20th century architecture. Here we have large spaces, of course not residential. Industrial sites mainly, where, I don't know, a number of different products were manufactured. These are images from a PhD thesis that was carried out here at the school. It's in Spanish, but I think it's very relevant. It's called Industrial Architectural Heritage in the Oria River Axis, Assessment, Protection and Conservation by Irati Otamendi Irizar, who teaches here at the school. I think it includes some very interesting representative images. This is another case study of industrial heritage. On the left-hand side you see pictures from a factory in Oria that's 20 kilometers away. And on the right-hand side you see a project for the rehabilitation of this site, and in order to turn it into a nursing home for aged people. I'm coming to the end of my presentation. Here I want to talk about how we can contribute to conservation and reuse. This is probably one of the reasons of the non-existence of this type of European masters funded by the EU. The problem with the architectural profession and its attributions in the different European countries is that there is a high variation. This is a profession that's recognized, like medicine, for instance. This is a regulated profession. Cardiologists, of course, will be working on the hearts of people, but in architecture, well, the attributions of architects vary from a country to another. For instance, in Italy, architects have specific attributions concentrating on the project, Portugal and France, but in Spain, architects have different attributions. Architects are responsible for all the fields of construction, structure, installations, of the building. So there are different attributions there in the different European countries. And therefore, it's been hard to make Italy, Lithuania and Spain fit, because they have different attributions in their legislations. We had to look at the European regulations on the profession of architecture and architects. And in Europe, the European legislation states that in some countries there's this figure of the architect-engineer, a double degree, right, to have the whole attributions. And so this is why within the requirements to participate in ARURCOHE, we included that you needed to be architects or similar. Right. This is why we couldn't just work with architects, because otherwise we would be forgetting structure. I'm just telling you here that things are sometimes not as easy as they seem. The idea of the master is that you work on the project and structure. Here you see a building built in 1983, but you will not find it in any catalogues. I was walking around the area one day and I took these pictures. You know, this is an architecture that you need to know about, right? We need to transmit knowledge to you for you to be able to work on this type of site. And we also need to provide you with some concepts and ideas and knowledge about structure, materials, especially if you're going to work on rehabilitation projects. You're going to need that. Here we have two different structures. On the one hand, we have issues in masonry and then some issues on reinforced concrete. And you're going to find them. We need to talk about these type of issues, right? And the same thing goes to the energy of buildings, right? To minimize the expenses and greenhouse gas emissions as well. So these are some of the things that we need to talk about. And of course, I would like to say here that these type of solutions is surface coating to improve the energy conditions of a building is being massively carried out, and this of course may alter the heritage, because we finally come up with very uniform, homogeneous facades, right, and buildings. These are just two examples I'm showing you here up on the slide, but we need to be very careful here. So as you can see, well, there will be many different situations we're going to be analyzing. Please don't be scared. I think there are many concepts you can work on. it's going to be a challenge, and I'm giving you a challenge now. In the first semester, why don't you make a file about 20th century architecture in your countries? Why don't you do that? Why don't you make a PDF file and then we upload it to our website? It would be interesting, because we're going to have a file from different countries, 16 different countries. And if we get that in each ARURCOHE edition, we're going to be making a wonderful database. It could be a PDF file, 10, 15, 20 pages. I don't know. It's not something that would be assessed, okay? I'm just asking you to share, right? To show us your country. I particularly, and all the professors of the master will be very happy to look at that, okay? This is my challenge to you today. I don't know if we're doing well for time or not. Am I talking too much? Maybe, but I'm coming to the end of my presentation. You're going to be in San Sebastian, and you're going to see a neighborhood. I'm going to play a video that will be 3 minutes long, I think, about a neighborhood in San Sebastian called Gros. Because sometimes when we concentrate on the rehabilitation of sites, we forget about the dissemination. I think that we also need to be able to disseminate information about what we do. Sometimes we only concentrate on the action, right? We go to site and start doing things, but there are many different ways of talking about what we do. And well, this is why I'm going to show you this 3-minute video made by someone from here, from the city of San Sebastian.
La casa de Batman y los arquitectos olvidados. Gros Metropolis.
Yes, you will get translation. I'll do my best because I haven't seen the video before. I'll do my best. In the early years of the 20th century, the neighborhood of Gros was growing a great deal with a neo-Gothic style. At the end of the 1920s, new styles and ideas came with new construction material. And it is then when the soul of the neighborhood is configured, its personality, the urban landscape that we now have, the landscape of Gros Metropolis. A century later, the neighborhood is still different. Stands out. Some architects contributed with unique buildings like Fernando Arzadún in La Arquitectura, of nautic inspiration that was disseminated all over the world. Furriola 18 is a building by Gregorio Aspiazu with different lines and angles, with a different type of architecture. If Batman came to San Sebastian, he'd be delighted to live here, I'm sure. Antonio Faldua left us a number of different penthouses with his own style, personal style. Lucas Alday contributes to the neighborhood with many different facades. This is the author of the Paseo de la Concha. One of the most recognizable buildings is this one by Florencio Mocoroa. This is the House of Bachelors, and also in Aterrorieta 23 or the Leal building. Pablo Favallo, architect and painter, evolved over time and explored different styles, always looking for high artistic sensitivity in his designs. Domingo Aguirre Bengoa created the building that welcomes you to the neighborhood, among other projects, of course. Urcola, Cortázar, and some others also contributed with the know-how. Pedro Gaistarro built this tower. All these buildings and architects created the landscape of Gros. They are all part of Gros Metropolis. Well, I think this is a wonderful video. That's why I wanted to show it to you, and it contributes a great deal to disseminate our heritage and show it to the world. I think that that's been all from me. That's all from me. What can I say? I hope you feel comfortable here. After this talk, you will be going to your classroom. Of course, if you have questions or doubts, you can go to your teachers, to Ana and Juan, because they are experts that will be able to answer every question you may have. They may even be critical with some of the things I've said here, but that's fine. And this is my last slide. Thank you so much for your attention. As I said, be very welcome and enjoy your stay. I wish you a good day. I think that you're now having like 15 minutes a break, right, before you go to your classroom. That's all for me. This presentation will be available on the website, as I said, and I hope you have a very nice day. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Goodbye. The sub-director of the school is here, Inigo. Is there anything you'd like to add? The director is right now at a meeting in Madrid. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here. You know, important people have these type of institutional meetings. But we have our sub-director, who is also a teacher at the master, Inigo Garcia. Well, very briefly, as Santi said, our director welcome you to our school. We are here to help you. Everything that we have at the school is available to you. There are quite a few students at this school. Ezequiel Collantes has made a huge effort to find a good place for you at the school. You've got a very nice classroom and a nice space. I hope you feel comfortable there, and all the facilities of this school are available to you, and of course we teachers would be very happy to support you. You've got the Fab Lab as well. I hope you use it. It's one of our jewels at the school. It's a very good application. Well, it could be good for the master as well. And well, I hope you enjoy your stay in San Sebastian. Anything you might need, please come to us. What else can I say? Santi has worked very much, very hard, together with other people present here on this joint master. All professors have been involved. They've had many, many meetings to prepare everything for you, also Edurne. So we're really honored to have you here. It's wonderful to be here at this point in time. Our school is a small school. It seemed impossible to be here, to get here, but here we are. So this has been possible thanks to the hard work of many, many people. Thank you all for everything you've done. And I hope you have a very nice day. And of course, I hope everything will be all right. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope we'll be able to work hard on interesting topics together. We're going to be revisiting the past. But I think that that will also shape the future. You know, the rehabilitation of our heritage is very much related to our memory, to our identity, the identity of cities, their culture, and also it has to do with reusing all these buildings that are out there that need to be reused. This is a challenge at many levels, environmental, economic, for the future. We're all undergoing a climate change situation. It's here and now, and we can make our contribution. So work hard and have fun and enjoy. We will try to help you and support you in as best we can, of course. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.